see us. Let's go.
Run!
Fuck, do you got the keys?
Yep, catch.
Thanks. That's a really loud car.
That's so fast! Oh my gosh! Is this the speed limit?
Speed limits are for wimps.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Dude, we made it.
That intro has never more reflected our collective arrival at...
Our collective arrival?
If you count either of our both arrivals, then on average, we arrived an hour before?
Yeah.
What time did you get here?
About 7:45.
All right, I got here at approximately 12:55.
Yeah, but...
Is when I parked my car.
Everybody, welcome to Talk Heathen. My name's Eric.
And I'm Jamie. And Eric has recently survived
a heart attack from this guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I should pause before I say Eric just had a heart attack.
So
not
season
a
2,
literal heart attack.
Episode 10. It is March 18th. That means that we missed a couple really important days, man.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's
the
Day.
holiest day of the year.
Pie
For
Day.
drunks.
We missed Pie Day.
Yeah.
We hope you all had a wonderful Pie Day.
It's true.
3.1415. All right.
I've always felt that Pi Day should be celebrated the day after 3.16.
Well,
because then it's rounded.
No,
correctly.
3.1 rounds down.
No. 3.1.
What's up? But then it would be March 1st.
3.1. Oh, no. It's 3.1415.
Okay.
So it should be 3.14.
Moving on. I do want to really give an update on the fundraiser. We are at $3,875. We are getting close to the home stretch, and we are getting
so close.
So close to the actual event, too. It's the 18th. This time, 10 days from now, we're going to be at the convention. Please donate to the GoFundMe, because otherwise we're not going to be able to make
debt when we get to the convention.
Yeah, I'm a full-time student.
I have to move every possession of mine in the next 10 days.
We really need the help. So please, if you haven't contributed, if you know anybody who's willing to support us, please go to our GoFundMe. Can we get the donate at goaxp.org. Also, let's see, do we have any other news before we hop into callers?
Yes.
What's up?
How was your week? Can we do this real quick?
We'll do it quick.
Because my week was interesting. How was your week?
So it was good. I've got scratches, and when we zoom in, I've got a big old cut on my forehead because I was chipping trees, and it just smacked me right in the face. So it didn't even leave like a cool Lion King scar type thing. It just right in the forehead. So
yeah, police are still investigating. So
tree at large.
A tree at.
Also, I'm a mega nerd and did I know, right? I did the Hearthstone Tavern at the ACA. We actually did a fireside gathering for Hearthstone yesterday, and we had a good number of people show up.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
Yeah.
So I'm actually.
Hopefully you're just saying that because it's accurate and not because I couldn't make it yesterday.
No, actually it is accurate.
Okay.
We had a pretty good number of people, and we're hoping more people will come in next time. I'll post it up. I wanted to see who would be interested, and a bunch of people are interested. So I think next time we need to actually treat it like a tavern, have some booze though. I think that would help lubricate the machine, and plus it would drive the board members crazy because they would wonder about people getting injured and drunk on the premises. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a board member. Wait, why are you doing this to me?
So I see some really cool callers.
You're gonna guess about my week.
How was your week, Jamie?
That's fine.
How was your week?
To talk about my week. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
No, wait, shit. It's the bit where I act like this stereotype of a couple. That's what that. So, Eric, if you had to guess, I'm really proud of myself, so please don't let this up for me. Eric, if you had to guess how many hours over the last 6 days I had worked, what would be a reasonable number that wouldn't be you should be tired and dead?
15 hours, Jamie.
Well, you are so wrong.
17 hours.
You are also still wrong.
Okay, I'm tired of
I have
guessing.
worked 60 hours in the last 6 days.
Very nice.
No, 50
very nice.
hours. Shit.
For those of you who are not in Austin, South by Southwest is going on, and this guy has been serving your booze.
Yeah, all of it in all the bars all at once.
So we've got some really amazing
And
calls.
actually,
really wanna go
yesterday,
through.
I
Yes.
bumped into some fans that recognized me at the bar.
Bullshit.
No,
Hey!
not
Buy us
bullshit,
drinks.
sir.
If we see you at the convention, by the way, please stop and say hi. We really, really want to get to meet you, talk to you, hang out, buy us drinks.
Yeah, do it, because we will not have a ton of spare cash.
No, we won't. And before we move in, I know everybody's waiting, like, come on, get to the college.
And
especially
every
'cause we
time
have
you buy me a
good
drink,
number
I will donate
We have
to
a
the
good
charity
number
that is the tip jar. So.
of theist callers. I do
Yeah,
want to
we
get to
do.
them, but before we do, I want to reiterate our social media and all of that. We'll try and get through it quickly.
It's
You
all
can-
called Talk Heathen.
Yes, you can call in right now.
512. Oh, you were doing
512-686.
0279.
You can also write into mail@talkheathen.com. It's down there. You can find Talk Heathen on Facebook. YouTube.com/TalkHeathen is what you're watching right now. How else can you get hold of us?
You can get a hold of me personally on Twitter at reason_evidence.
How about Instagram, Jamie?
You can see this handsome young man's beautiful visage on, oh my God.
Instagram,
Instagram,
Eric the Heathen.
the Heathen, or my face at Jamie the Heathen on Instagram as well.
Also,
Did we get everything?
no, Reddit.
No,
Reddit.com /r/talkheathen.
There it is.
We're getting to calls. Thank you guys for all waiting. Oh my gosh, we have so many theist callers. Yeah, this makes me happy.
Thank
But we were
you.
talking about picking
I think we said
Mike.
Yeah, let's
So,
do Mike.
Mike in the Philippines.
How are you doing
You're
this
on
morning?
live with Eric and Jamie on Talk Heathen. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I've been wanting to call in here for probably a couple of years or so, but I've never been able to get up early enough to do it.
Well,
For some reason I was up, and so I called in.
Yeah.
you
well,
know,
we're happy to provide you another.
yeah, I mean, we haven't been around for years.
Yeah, I have a personal story. About 90% of what you guys say, I'm totally with it, and I've been listening to your show for years. All that cracking on the Bible, I'm like, yeah, thank God somebody's finally
Hey,
hitting them on all their inconsistencies.
Mike,
but
you know you're on the line.
Yes,
with-
sir?
You know you're on Talk Heathen, a new show out of the ACA, right? This is not the Atheist Experience.
it's not?
No.
No, it's an understandable mistake. We kick as much ass, so.
But we're nicer.
We're nicer, yeah.
Yeah.
And we generally don't say
Okay,
things
cool.
like we kick ass.
Whatever.
but-
I mean, cool. Just wanted to make sure that you knew that you weren't
Yeah.
going to be talking to those hosts. You're talking to just the two of us.
yeah.
Okay, I don't know the difference between that, but whatever.
Different.
I
different
love
hosts.
that. Can we just blend
Yep.
those two?
Yeah,
We're
can
gonna
we
ride
put
their
that
coattails
together
forever.
as an advertisement?
Yeah, the Atheist
I don't know
ex-
the difference between the two.
Talk Heathen.
We're nicer.
Riding the coattails of the Atheist
Okay.
Experience. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Okay, so what,
Go ahead,
what,
Mike.
what-
Get it skywriting.
what's the difference? What's the difference between Talk Heathen and the atheist experience?
The way that we run the show. As far as your experience, it's going to be roughly, it'll be almost precisely the same.
The difference is you have two regular hosts. We are the only people on Talk Heathen that you're going to see. We do have guests that come in from time to time.
Occasionally, but if you call back next week, you can talk to us again. Or
Yeah,
the
we-
week after that.
We
or
like
the week
getting
after
regular
that.
returning callers.
After that.
So,
After
but anyway, what did
Okay.
you want to talk about, Mike?
I just have two personal stories, and I've been listening to your show for a long time, and people are always referring to the Bible and someone else's story and what they personally believe, and I have personal stories that happen to me personally. And if I tell 100 people of it, I always get a different opinion of what happened. So I just wanted your opinion of if this happened to you, would it change your view? Or if it didn't change your view, what would you think of it?
Sure.
And there's
Yeah.
two of them.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to tell them to you, and you just give me your opinion.
Sure. I mean, we will jump in if we need to, and if it's super long, we're going to probably try and cut through.
We may very politely rush you along.
I'll make them as short as possible.
No worries, brother. What do you got?
I'll start out with the first one. I had just finished doing a yoga class, and I put on a
the devil's
hypnotic
sketches.
tape that I was listening to every day for a year. And it's supposed to strengthen your ego or something rather like that. And while I was listening to this tape, about halfway into it, it like kind of knocked me out, and I saw this like blinding white light. And then I saw a friend of mine's granddaughter, which I wasn't friends with, hyperventilating. She couldn't breathe, and I was like in the room with her.
Okay.
And it was like 10-minute drive down the road. It just shocked me up right out of it, and I jumped in my car and drove over there, and there she was, not able to breathe. So I banged on the door, and I had to calm her down and get her to start breathing again. And I found out that she had just been raped. And I have no idea how this happened to this day.
Okay. So just so that I'm clear, you were listening to a meditative tape after yoga. You were not driving
Yeah,
at the time.
it was a hypnotic tape.
And you feel like you had an out-of-body experience where you...
I know I did, because there was no way of me knowing this.
Well, so Mike, let's be...
10-minute drive down.
Yeah, Mike, let's be clear, right? I don't know is not the same as this happened. I don't know just means I don't know.
I don't know is not the same as
I had an out-of-body experience, because if you
it had to have been, because because I had no idea that it was happening, and there were witnesses to prove it.
Right.
There was a white light, and I was like in the room with her, but I was 10-minute drive away.
Okay. Is it more likely now we're gonna break down right likely things, because with that kind of story. The likelihood of it being something that we can explain is far greater than the likelihood of a completely unexplained phenomena that you can't test, measure, or verify, right?
Yeah.
Like the likelihood that you have a spirit that left your body with eyeballs that could still see, right, is just as likely as leprechauns carrying you over there. And so we're going to go through a couple simple scenarios that are more likely, right? So is it more likely that you had some kind of a psychological mental break, or that there was some kind of chemical reason why you had this blackout? Is that possible? Is that possible?
Is that possible?
How could there was actually an event happening? Usually, if you have a chemical break, if you have a chemical breakdown,
usually it doesn't coincide with events in the real world.
Yeah,
I was in reality. I saw it happening.
Okay, so how did you determine the difference between? Well, sorry, how did you determine the difference between being in reality when you were?
Because I didn't go and bang on the girl's door and they didn't say, "What are you talking about? I'm fine." I banged on the girl's door and she was hyperventilating, and it was a 10-minute drive away. So that's probably unlikely. Am I saying it was a spirit world or anything like that? I really don't know. All I know is I knew this was happening a 10-minute drive away. And something being out of my mind, or a chemical imbalance or whatever, that's not likely, because it was really happening when I got over there.
So to be clear, sorry, I just want to clarify some of the details in the background story. One of the things that you said is that when you got there, she had been raped. Do you mean that? Because the vision, thing that you described seeing.
After I had calmed the girl down. Her grandmother told me, because she wouldn't talk about it, that she had been raped.
Well, I mean, we're talking. You're a complete stranger, right? Have you been to that house before?
Yes, I was friends with her grandmother,
Okay,
not her. Me and the girl didn't get along, actually.
Okay. So well, the next place I'm going to go is post hoc rationalization.
Well, yeah.
But
You can go there. I was going to go through the epistemological steps of determining.
you know what? You go ahead. That's more beneficial.
Okay, so Mike, you did yoga. You listened to a hypnotic tape.
Yeah, I was doing yoga before that. A lot of hip openers and something. I don't know if it opened up. Whatever. I don't make assumptions. I just tell people the story, and they all have a different opinion.
Okay, so you did yoga.
But there was no way of me knowing that
Yeah, I understand.
This was happening.
I understand that part of the detail. But you did yoga. You listened to a hypnotic tape. You feel like the hypnotic tape knocked you out. Just to be clear.
Well, it always knocks you out. I was listening to it. It hypnotizes you. Mm-hmm. Every day I listened to it for about a year. It helped me to relax and feel better about myself. It put these positive suggestions in your subconscious. And you know, one of the times it happened that this took place, I saw a light it was blinding light. And then I saw her hyperventilating, and it just I just jumped out of it. I jumped in my car because it wasn't like a dream. It was like I was there. I jumped in the car. I ran over there. I banged on the girl's door, and then she couldn't breathe, and I had to calm her down. I had to get her to start breathing again.
Okay. You've said alternatively that she couldn't breathe and that she was hyperventilating, but that isn't really that important a detail. So what, if any, conclusion do you come to about this other than, well, the thing that I saw when I was unconscious must have been me actually seeing reality? Like, are there any other...
Because it was she was wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, but Mike...
She was wearing the same clothes that she was when I got over there. In a dream, you see things kind of hazy. You know, it's not clear, and in
our memories we
was
can see the details that stick out to us.
Yeah, I was able to see every little detail.
I believe that that's the way that you remember it. Mike, do you believe that you're the only person with a story that includes, I had a dream and a thing came real, or I was unconscious?
It wasn't a dream, but if you want to call it that, I'm not here to. What
is it that
your opinion is wrong?
Yeah, no. How do you refer to this experience? The things that you saw.
I prefer it to something that I don't understand, but I knew that she was hyperventilating across town.
Mike, no, I got you. What is it what word do you use? Because you said if you want to call it a dream, that's fine. I'd like to call it whatever it is that you call it for at least the course of this conversation.
I call it an unexplained outer body experience.
Okay,
I guess.
So my understanding is that you believe that this...
Now, to say that there's no scientific explanation for this that won't be found years later, that something like this can happen, I'm not saying that. Am I saying this isn't God? I'm not saying that either.
So why are you calling an atheist show?
I'm calling you saying I want your opinion because I don't know.
Yeah, so just to be clear, Mike, in our notes it says that you are undecided if you are a theist or an atheist and that you want our opinion on this story. Is this story related to you being undecided about whether or not to conclude that a God exists?
Well, here's now that you've heard that story, I haven't gotten your full opinion of it. I have a much bigger story. That this is the one that makes me undecided, and I have a testimony written down.
Okay, so to be very clear, the story of what you're calling an unexplained out-of-body experience.
Both of them make me undecided.
Okay.
This one is the bigger one, and I have a testimony written down for it. It's only a page long.
All right, Mike, real quick.
Okay, Mike. So
Eric has one last thing.
I'll give you my view on that. I have misremembered things. I've filled in the blank afterwards, and that's something that people do.
Humans do. Yeah.
It's just part of being human is having to deal with the fact that a lot of our memories are recreated.
All of them. But
yeah, all of them. Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jamie. So where I'm going with that is when I was a believer and we did laying on hands and healing, it was very easy for us to, after the fact, fill in details that weren't there at the time. So if I were to reach back into my own personal experience to try and see likely things that could have caused this event for you, that would be the path that I would go down. I don't know you. I don't know how often things like this happen. A lot of people will count the hits, ignore the misses, so I don't know how many times you've swung. It just totally depends. But as far as the next piece, we do have a bunch of other people, so if you can give us the Cliff's Notes, we'd be happy to listen to it.
I could just read it over real fast. It's not very long. It's about a page.
What do you think, Jamie?
Well, if you can give us kind of the plot summary, right? So when I was talking to you about the story you've told us already, when I said, okay, you were doing yoga, you listened to it.
This one is the haymaker.
Okay.
This one I was just waiting.
Yeah.
It's not that long. I'll just read it.
Well,
I'll read it really fast.
Yeah.
And
Mike,
I just want your opinion.
Really quick. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here, because the last story that you told us, I can Cliff's Notes into, I was doing yoga, I listened to a hypnotape that I've listened to many times before. It knocked me out, as it usually does. I had what I call an unexplained out-of-body experience, where I saw a friend of mine's granddaughter hyperventilating. I drove across town. She was hyperventilating. I helped her. I attribute this to I don't know what, because it's unexplained. What's your opinion? So the thing that's interesting is that when people provide stories like this, they add a lot of emotion and detail because it's a very important story to them, presumably. Otherwise, they wouldn't call into the show to tell us, right? No one calls in and tells us that, the cereal they had this morning
I'm not
was
adding
great.
anything to it, but if that's your opinion,
I just mean
I'm
like
fine
boiling
with
it
that.
down.
Okay, yeah, let's give them.
But let's get
ahead,
going. Give us the haymaker.
This is the major story I wanted you to hear. It's not that long.
Okay.
And then
Headline.
you could just give me your quick opinion, then go on to the next caller.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay. What's that?
I said sounds good. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. To whom it may concern, I wrote this for the guy that did the healing on me. I want to start my testimony by saying I am not, in capital letters, a man of blind faith. I have to see it to believe it. 7 years prior, I heard of a healer named Reverend Red Duke. I did not really believe in such a thing, but as I suffered from severe emotional problems, I thought that it could not hurt to try his healing. Red put me on his table and performed his treatment. I really did not know what to think of it. I felt his energy, and I knew he believed in what he was doing. Red told me it might take more sessions. I thought this could be a fraud, but for some reason I felt compelled to keep his flyer, so I put it in my drawer, and there it sat for 7 years. One day, suffering from a worsening condition, also now having developed ulcerative colitis, taking 3 times the prescription dose by the psychiatrist survived, so I could somewhat function and maybe get 2 hours of sleep at night. I grabbed a book that was loaned to me to try and get some answers the doctors could not give me. The book was called Spiritual Emergencies by Stanley Groff. It was about mental illness being viewed as a positive transformation toward becoming a better human being with a higher level of functioning. It said that routine psychiatric care suppresses and worsens the condition of mental illness in the long run. So feeling desperate, I opened the book to a random page. It said word for word what I was going through, and it said that at this point, I needed guidance from a spiritual teacher. Now I knew why I kept the flyer all these years. Still skeptical but desperate, I called him. I felt like my head was coming right off my shoulders. I had intense stomach cramps, anxieties. I could not sleep an hour at night, and I barely knew my own identity. When I called Red, I was desperate. He was just about to leave town, and I was hesitant he was hesitant about seeing me right away because he was in such a rush to leave. But my inability to explain and the urgency in my voice, Red knew that this could not wait, so he told me to come over to his house. When I got there, he told me he did not remember seeing me before, which was 7 years prior, and asked me what I needed help with. I explained to him my situation. He asked if he could touch my wrist, and then he said, "You have taken on a lot of energy. You have a strong mind just to be able to function as well as you are." Then he touched my right hand and said, "Something is going to happen. The energy is going to come out like this."
I'm glad something happened.
He said, "Something's going to happen." He said, "The energy is going to come out like this." Where am I at? He said the energy is going to come out like this, and then he made a swirl with his right hand in front of me counterclockwise. From my right hand.
Okay. So Mike, remember?
I'm almost done.
No, hold on, Mike.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Jamie was talking about summing that up?
The
The right hand to the left hand.
The counterclockwise.
Yeah.
These are
Superfluous to the conversation.
If it was clockwise or counterclockwise or left hand, right hand.
I'm just about done. I haven't gotten to the nitty gritty of this.
Okay,
well,
get to the nitty gritty.
Isn't. All right. Go ahead and finish up.
Yeah. So a swirl. Then he made a swirl right in front of me, counterclockwise. From my right hand, as if that is the way the energy was going to come out. He said, "Just talk, say anything." I did not understand what he was saying, but I was willing to try anything. So I started to talk, telling everything that happened to me that week, and then what brought me there to him. He was silent. Then he screamed something out really loud. I am not sure what he said. I'm not sure what he said or if it was in another language. I felt a pop in my gut below my belly. As soon as that happened, he remained silent. Then, as I felt as if someone was pulling a string of pearls in a zigzag line from both arms, I assumed these were my meridian lines, as they do in acupuncture. That until then, I was not sure these things even exist. I felt a continual energy coming out these lines, and also my entire body, but still didn't see anything. Then after about 30 seconds, a golden mist came. My dog's messing with me. A golden mist came right out of my finger, made a circle in front of us counterclockwise, and disappeared. I still felt this energy coming out.
Okay.
I could not believe what I was feeling and what I was seeing, such a thing. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
And Red, the guy that was there, wasn't expecting this, and he clearly made a reaction that the light came out. His face went into like shock.
Okay.
This is something that
Mike,
the both of us could clearly see. He told me to stay there longer.
I can hop on. Hey, Mike, can you hear us still?
Yes, sir.
So
What's that?
Just really quick. You've said it's one page. You've said you're not going to include
that's
the added details,
but sentences.
We're kind of we do our best to keep a tight hold of the amount of time on the call. I would encourage you
I told you the gist of it. Then all the ailments had went away, and this was about 2005.
Yeah.
So to be really clear,
it happened. It happened.
I believe that you're describing an experience that happened and that you've very certainly remember in the way that you've described it. When you say all of the ailments that went away, just to clarify, these are diagnoses you received from a medical professional, or?
Yes, I had ulcers in my colon and psoriasis on my skin, and I could not sleep, even with all this medication.
Okay.
And they've been gone since 2005.
Were you receiving treatment at the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mike, it seems like in the course of that story, we learned that there are a whole bunch of things that you give credit to that we didn't originally know or anticipate. So you said that at one point that you assumed that these were the meridian lines, which are a thing that they use in acupuncture, at least some acupuncture.
Yeah, actually, I talked to an acupuncturist later on.
Okay, so
they told
have
me
you
which meridian line.
Mike, you need to let Jamie talk. You had a long time to talk.
Mike,
let Jamie talk.
Let me get this going on real quick. So you've said quite a few things that are incredibly troubling, which is kind of throwing me off step just a little bit, but I'm going to finish up here because I think Eric probably has a lot to say on this that he wants to say. There was a part where you were describing what a book told you, which was that psychological treatment makes psychological diagnoses and the issues to which they refer worse over time, which is kind of a bold
yes, and as a matter of fact, that is a fact. That
okay,
fact is a really fun word to use.
Fact is not the correct word to Mike. Yeah, Mike, you're on hold here, real quick, because I need to get this across. Not only is that not a fact, that's an unbelievably dangerous and irresponsible thing to say. So when you called into this show, I was pretty sure that I was going to get to go through how you might come to a conclusion about what information is reliable and how to proceed from there. But at this point, I think it may be layers upon layers of credulously kind of accepting a series of things that have built into a kind of house of cards that's now been cemented with super glue, such that to take it apart is going to involve some painful, tearing away of psychological minutia. But no, I'm just very sorry. No, the kind of adapted. I don't know where to.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's.
Mike, you still there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, Eric's
so
gonna take this away.
I've got a couple things. Okay. So you haven't seen Talk Heathen, right?
What's that?
You have not seen Talk Heathen, right?
No, I've never have.
Okay, I'm gonna share with you something that the fans already know, right? I have a lot of experience with woo, and there are people in my life who are dying because they've been taken advantage of by charlatans who have preyed on them. Okay, so you could probably see why I would be upset about some of the things that you said, but really I'm not upset at you, and I want to be clear about that. I'm not upset at you.
I didn't pay this guy any money, by the way.
I'm upset at the people who would do that to you, okay? So it's not even about money, it's about control, it's about misunderstanding how health works, right? Like, you need to show so many fucking parts of that. What is energy? What are meridian lines? How do we know that acupuncture is a thing? How many things did you have that could be solved with the placebo effect, right? And why do I care? Why do I get so upset? I'm upset because there are people who are preying on my family who are dying, right? And there are other people that I know who will die, and people out there that I don't know, many more, who will die if they don't figure out that that kind of bullshit is just that. Mike? I mean, you're in the Philippines. Have you heard of psychic surgery? No, it's not my opinion. It's a fact. Have you heard of psychic surgery?
Psychic surgery?
Yeah, you're in the Philippines.
No, I haven't.
No?
Okay.
Check it out. It's another
Do a little bit of research
I know
on
the
that.
psoriasis is gone. I know the colitis
Good.
is
Yeah.
gone, and I slept
Good.
last night.
That's
I'm glad
fantastic.
that those things
I'm glad.
happened.
I don't want
Many of the
people
things
to
you've
take
said are-
advantage of you.
I'm
Mike.
not disagreeing. I'm not here to disagree with your opinion.
So
We haven't
okay.
offered any
Hold on, I'm not.
opinions
Okay,
yet.
both of you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mike. I put you back on hold, and I'm gonna hold you too.
Yeah.
Mike, I care about you very much. I don't know you, but I want you to have the right tools to move forward into the future, right? And you really, really, really got to check this out, man, because it could be incredibly detrimental to your future health. You really, really do need to research that, because things that are medicine become medicine. Things that are bullshit don't become medicine. That's why the kind of stuff that you're talking about, energy, auras, the acupuncture, they're not medicine for a reason, because they don't work, Mike. So I'm going to pop you back, and I want to give you the last word on this. Go ahead.
Mike?
Hello.
Hi.
Yep, you're
Yes,
here.
sir.
Is there anything else you wanted to
okay.
add before we moved on to the next call?
No, I just wanted to hear your opinion. I wasn't
Okay.
I wasn't calling
All
to
right.
judge it or disagree with it.
Okay.
I hear
Can I take one last
opinions about
swing
it
at
all the
this?
time.
Yeah.
So
All right. You take
for
care.
years, I just wanted to call
Okay.
and
Bye, Mike.
All right.
So we didn't even say hi to our live studio audience. Hi, live studio audience!
Hey!
Those of you who want to come
All right.
see Talk Heathen live, get to Austin, and then when you're here, go to, what's the address here, Jamie?
1507 West Koenig Lane.
1 o'clock Central Time. We'd love to see you.
I was tempted to make some joke about, like, all right, so you call in and you get on the waiting list, and you can be moved to the advanced layer of the waiting list for $50 and for a bonus.
Okay.
But
So-
we just talked to a person who quite frankly could be taken advantage of.
And realistically, the
Yuri
thing is
fucking
there
Geller.
are a whole bunch of people out there. And odds are that if you're watching this, you probably know somebody who's like this, right? It's not their fault that they didn't get the tools to be able to decipher this. This is where skepticism comes in, you guys. This is why it's important. You've got to share it, right? I mean, with my grandmother, I wound up getting a whole bunch of homeopathic medicines.
Those Arca bottles. Yeah.
And I just chugged them.
Yeah.
I chugged them and I said, we're going to either have a really good time, you're going to take me to the hospital, or I'm going to prove all of this stuff crap. And the fact is that there are other people, oh no, it's like your opinion, man. Like, what does it matter, right? I mean, you think what you think and I think what I
There's a
think.
beverage involved
Everything's
here.
good. It's not fucking good when people die.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to go and have somebody blow smoke up your ass because you can't sleep at night, right? Or because, some other thing that can be cured with the placebo effect, I really don't care. You're an adult. You can do that. But if you're going to choose that over medicine, or you know somebody who's choosing that over medicine, I really do
doing
think that
something
you have an
dangerous.
ethical obligation to step in and say something. The fact is if Mike, if you knew a magical person who could reach into you and pull out the sickness, and that person is not at every hospital every minute of every day, then what they are doing is unethical, right? You have an ethical and moral obligation to be there. And the fact is if you do know somebody who has magical healing powers that they could prove, if they are not spending every day until the day that they die healing, then that is unbelievably immoral.
Yeah.
Unethical, unbelievable. And I personally think that we should imprison these fuckers. I mean, really, honestly, Mike, I do genuinely care about you, and because of you, I'm pissed.
There's a reason that we license medical professionals, and there's a reason that it's illegal for any person, as far as I'm aware, in that room or this room or that room, to say, let me give you some legal advice that you should follow. The same should be true for medicine. Look, my problem when this comes up is that it's always someone's motherfucking personal story, or it's a practitioner saying, oh, because I have cured stuff. Really, the methods that you're using, how did anyone determine that they're effective? And the methods that are used in a fucking hospital, how did people determine that they were effective? Compare those two fucking processes. One is documented at every fucking stage with thousands and thousands of recorded tests again and a fucking again based on an actual understanding of actual human biology and actual human physiology. And one of them is some bullshit that someone told someone else once and then they kept doing it even after we figured out how shit worked. Yeah. It's ancient, therefore it must be good. There's actually a name for that fallacy that's in Latin. I can't remember the Latin one for it. I just...
Yeah, it's so... before argumentum ad antiquatum.
Before argumentum ad nauseum and this bullshit.
So before we do move on, if you guys did not see Jamie on the Atheist Experience with Matt Dillahunty last week, it was amazing. You killed it. Bro, I'm so freaking proud of you. I do want to move forward though, because we've got some really great calls.
Let's not linger on the...
Yeah, so let's move on
clear our nostrils.
To Tom in Pennsylvania. You are live with Eric and Jamie on Talk Heathen. How's it going, Tom?
Can you hear me through my mic or?
You sound great, man.
Okay. The question that I had was, why is religion so much more of an issue than other things we disagree and fight over? And I'm kind of glad you talk about homeopathy, because that's something where me, myself, I don't really, think of it and really get riled up about it, but there goes something else that, does harm to people, could cause lives and so on and so forth. And I was thinking like, well, why will religion be pushed up as more of an issue than homeopathy or something else people die over?
Do you mean for us personally or in general? Like why it's something that we decided to have a show to talk about, or why we think we can say, no, this is more important from a kind of objective standard?
Well, the idea is that it's a lot easier, finding people who would argue about, being religious or not versus arguing about other things.
That's one of the reasons, man.
Yeah.
So, Tom, I moved out here from California, and I remember Prop 8. Did you ever hear about Prop 8? It was the anti-gay marriage bill that was passed in California in 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So there were a whole bunch of people who asked, why we have so many more important things going on in the world. Why do we need to focus on gays? They'll get their time, but we have so many more important things.
Why can't they just wait their turn?
Why can't they just wait their turn? Jamie.
Where have we heard that before in this country?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is that what you mean?
Well, I think...
Like why atheism, why non-religion versus, wars or diseases or other movements?
Like, do you mean why do we care, or why is it that in the atmosphere people care?
In the atmosphere, like why is it so much prevalent that would be a thing to, talk about?
Because the evangelical voting bloc put another president in the office, among other reasons, and most of the cabinet of the, if you mean in the United States, most of the cabinet are evangelicals, and they're legislating that way. People are writing laws and rules and regulations that will be enforced by professionals trained to enforce those literally at the point of a gun, because bullshit is believed.
I mean, you're talking...
That's why that bullshit is very important, because lots of people believe it, and they're going to make you do shit because of it.
You're talking to two guys who live in a state, Tom, where if a woman has an abortion, she has to bury it. I mean...
Yeah.
That's kind of real fucked up, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking sometimes those same things will be done by people who are atheists.
Like what?
So, like as for, homophobia and about the abortion issue, like sometimes atheists will be, just as...
Send them our way.
What do you call it? Against your view set that you have on those things as theists are.
Well, that's because one involves loving people marrying each other, and the other involves refusing to acknowledge their humanity. There is a better position to have
Yeah.
That's a false equivalency, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, well, so you don't confuse what I'm trying to say, but like I've met plenty of heavily homophobic people that were atheists, and I mean, like to me, like I could just as easily find me a heavily homophobic person that's atheist or theist.
Yep.
So I'm kind of thinking like it doesn't really matter what if they believe in the God or not, if they're going to be.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yes. So the specific issues that come up are very important. The foundation that leads to these flawed conclusions is more specifically what I like to address: a lack of critical thinking and skepticism, and in the cases that you're listing, a lack of empathy and understanding of other human beings is necessary. And trying to get to a point where, well, I don't like this, doesn't lead to therefore pass laws is something that requires addressing the foundations by which a person believes things and believes that things should be done, right? A person who believes a bunch of who's motivated by their religion and nothing else to never question anything and come to these conclusions about moral existence and believe X, Y, and Z things about our country and what needs to be done and how what you do in a bedroom, God, etc. I think we're on the same page as far as those things and those things causing harm. That person wants everyone else to believe that and wants laws to be passed because of it. And addressing the fact that the motivation for these conclusions and actions is a specific set of religious beliefs is something that we can address by addressing those specific set of religious beliefs and how the people that we're talking about come to conclusions. Atheists believe any friggin' number of things other than not believing that a God exists. There's nothing that atheists share. I've met atheists who believe that 9/11 was an inside job, that the 9/11 was carried out in a different way, but still by terrorists because the official explanation doesn't make sense. That homeopathy works, that homeopathy is bullshit, that all religions are scams, that, oh no, religion was started because at the very beginning, the people that started it were lying, and then the people that followed afterwards didn't realize it was a lie. That none of this matters. Oh, that religion is good because people that would blah, 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 blah. I can't address all of the things that atheists believe that are bullshit by talking about one specific topic. I can do that for people. I can do that for people with a specific set of religious beliefs based on a very specific set of doctrines. I can say, let's talk about these doctrines that have motivated millions of people to conclude that millions of other people aren't people. If that helps at all.
Well, I was with you until like the last couple words, but.
Oh yeah, I stated that kind of. So
yeah.
There are millions of religious people who have concluded that, for example, millions of LGBTQ people are not deserving of specific legal rights because of the specific aspects of their religion. I can address that by addressing their religion. I cannot do the same with atheists that are homophobic.
Okay.
That and the fundamental problem is the way that people come to conclusions, and specifically how they form what ideas about what's right and wrong.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, we're getting some ringing in the background. Is everything all right there?
Oh, it's another phone.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we're about done. We're going to let you go. It's getting kind of loud, so you take care. But
well, did that hopefully answer your question a little bit?
Well, no. Well, the thing I was going to leave off as, because like with my personal choice, I mean, like, if it could be more of a broader thing where you don't find people who are political or who are violent, would it still be an issue with you guys personally?
I would still talk to them about their epistemology.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
would still talk to them about what they believe and why.
Believe in God, but they were involved in the political system. They didn't vote, but and they also were nonviolent.
definitely.
Would it still be an issue?
Yeah.
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 Because it's a
Yeah.
thing that affects them, and I'd like to help anyone that I can. So if I come across a person who is
All right.
using unreliable methods of drawing conclusions, I'd like to talk to them about that. I don't expect immediate success or a willingness to talk from anyone. And if someone's unwilling to talk to me, I'm not going to force them to talk to me.
Yeah.
Or accost them on the street.
But also, even if they weren't voting, Tom, there are some things about religion that we still would absolutely. The fear of hell is one that has screwed people up for life. Also, there are a lot of leaps of logic that people make when they follow specific religions, and when they do that, they take they take those tools, what they consider to be true, and apply it to other parts of their lives, like that gentleman that called in before you, who was talking about homeopathy, right? The same reasoning that he gave can be used to justify a lot of religious beliefs, and we
a lot
want
of any beliefs, apparently.
We want to cut down on the number of places where that kind of terrible thinking can hide.
Yeah, where the anything goes. Well, if they believe that, then yeah, anything goes. Like, no. Sorry. Like, but Tom, can we pop Tom on hold?
Yeah, let's get your information, Tom.
And then reach out to us on Facebook and social media. You seem incredibly receptive to polite, calm, and very interesting conversations on this topic, and I would love to continue to have them at your convenience.
And you put up with me steaming down from the last call, so that's very much appreciated. Thank you for that, Tom.
Okay, I'll wait.
Cool.
All right, sounds good.
Cool.
Take care.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna move on.
I don't know. I mean, we can, if you wanted to say something.
No, that's okay, because we have a dear friend that I'd really, really love on.
We should tell them not to stand in the middle of the road while they're on the call.
No, but we should be afraid because EJ's making waves. People still talk about that episode, and now EJ is on the air live with Eric and Jamie. EJ, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi!
Hey.
I just wanted to say, first of all, Eric, I was sitting here, like, watching you go off on mic, just like, yeah! I was, like, cheering for you.
But?
So, can you tell me?
Okay.
No buts.
Prove to you.
Satellites are real.
Prove to you that satellites are real. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you EJ. I've done it. Okay.
No. Okay, I do actually have a question I want to ask you guys.
Sure.
So, when I was on 2 weeks ago, arguing with Victor was the first time I'd ever encountered flat Earth arguments, ever. So, I think that you guys have probably encountered them a little more than I have, and I was wondering, like, what the best approach you have for them is. Because I can come in and tell them why they're wrong, but they're not going to listen to me because they'll say I'm just spouting equations or whatever.
On what platform and with what goal?
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun on
Twitter.
Twitter.
It's general.
Very different as far as productivity.
Yeah.
If you're talking to a person in person if you're talking to a person in person.
Well, no, if in real life you're talking to somebody about it, my experience
Twitter is real, man.
is that you model the behavior that you want to see. It takes a long time for somebody to be able to really confront something that they truly hold as important in their lives and ask whether or not they're right about it. It is incredibly uncomfortable, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of growth. And so when it comes to an honest, genuine flirter,
There's no
flirf. I don't. Anyway,
you just say flat earther.
Okay, flat earther.
You're not on Twitter.
You know what, man?
That's our word, okay? That's our hashtag.
Oh,
you hit the mic, you fool.
The audio engineer's gonna kill me. Okay.
Yeah.
So model the behavior that you want to see.
Amateurs.
I know, right? You did better. Model the behavior that you want to see. It really, really does help. If you can emphasize how important it is to say, I don't know. If you can show in other parts of your life that you do investigate things that you don't know. and that you do question the world around you. That can really help. If it's somebody that you're just meeting who you're having an argument with, you need to really take a good look at what you're trying to achieve, right? So on this show, when you were talking to that flat earther, right, Victor really wasn't the person that we're trying to talk to, right? We're talking to those of you who are watching on YouTube because seeing that conversation had, right, that was the first time you got to have that conversation. That's the first time that a lot of people watching got to see that conversation.
And
it's
they
important.
should be impressed by how well you did in that conversation.
Yeah, and presenting those conversations and giving other people the opportunity to experience that through you, through us, that's the goal of this. So definitely Jamie does have the point. So if it's not on YouTube though, if it's in person, if you care about the person, model it. If you want to do it on Twitter, obviously Jamie knows because I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you
there's
Yeah, I don't do Twitter either.
Yeah.
Standards.
Yeah, you have
EJ,
different-
you validate me.
Yeah. Tell him what he wants to hear. That's good. That's good right there.
Go ahead, man.
Sorry, Jamie. No. I've been arguing in YouTube comments, which is arguably worse than Twitter, so I really can't judge.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what your goals are, right? If
That's fair.
yeah, if your goal is
I
to
did get
change
one
someone's
person to
mind.
apologize for calling me an SJW.
Sorry.
I got one person to apologize for calling me an SJW, so that was nice.
Oh, wow. You are a master of argumentation on the screen and in text, apparently, because that is
And in
quite a
YouTube
feat.
comments, that could be
Yeah.
cool. Actually, you know what? Our YouTube comments, though, are pretty amazing. We have some really, really awesome fans.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see.
Okay.
If you're watching this video, look
for your
below.
time, I want you guys to have time to talk to all the people who aren't going to be as nice to you as I am.
Thank you, though.
Can I make two corrections though?
Yeah, go for it.
Two little things. Okay. First of all, guys, I know the moon is moving away from the Earth. I was talking really fast. Please stop commenting.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was trying to talk about Mars's moon Phobos, which actually is moving closer to Mars. Okay, first correction out of the way. Second of all, my pronouns are they, them. I should have said it at the start of the show. I'm saying it now. You all know now. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Cool? Cool.
Cool. EJ, you take care of yourself and always stay in touch. We love talking to you.
Yeah, you guys too. You better have me back soon, or I think you'll have a riot.
Or you'll crash a satellite on our studio with your amazing powers.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Assuming it doesn't get trapped by the sun.
Well, let's see in the comments how many people want to see an EJ show.
Yeah.
Let's instigate
Vote now.
that.
Vote now.
Right? All right.
Actually, go to my Twitter. I'll
Atheist
throw up a
keeps
poll.
trying to make me make my own YouTube
Yep.
channel, but
You know-
I literally do not have the time to do that.
Do you know how they could vote on EJ?
Yeah.
They can vote for
go to-
EJ by donating to the fundraiser.
Yeah, donate to the fundraiser, and in your comment, say yes, EJ, or no, EJ.
EJ, you take care of yourself, okay?
Minimum one
All right.
vote.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have fun with the rest of your callers.
Oh, we
Also,
won't.
wait. One more thing. One more thing.
What?
Haha, Victor. I got on the show and you didn't. Haha. Okay.
Bye, EJ.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I wonder. I bet if Victor is still.
Victor was on the line.
Yeah,
dropped out.
I bet if he's still watching, he'll call in after that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
I figured that might have been the case. We just
so-
got a message from our producer.
Yeah, we are ready to move on to the next call, I think, unless you have anything else you want to add. I hit you, I beat up on you, I put you down, and then I forced the calls.
Yeah. Well, I can address why I say things like that very quickly, because I think you and I may have a misunderstanding about why I do that.
Say what?
So, well, why I said, oh, that's our word, which is very specifically and very clearly a reference to the kinds of like, no, there's a reason that I don't say the N-word and neither does Eric, and that's because that's not our word.
Do you belong to any communities that you have any special words for? I don't. I got nothing. I got nothing.
There's the other F word, which you.
How dare you? Sorry. Kyle,
saying
in
the other F
Canada.
word. Okay.
You're on live with Eric and Jamie on Talk Heathen. How's it going, man?
Oh, pretty good. How about you guys?
I think
good.
we're doing well. I feel bad for beating up on Jamie at this point,
Don't worry.
and so like I'm actually in my mind fashioning my apology to our audio engineer, who will probably just hurt me for hitting his microphone.
Yeah.
So other than that, doing well.
He'll do it in a way that doesn't leave a mark, though, so it'll be fine.
What did you want to talk about today?
I sort of wanted to talk about a train of thought that I haven't really been able to speak to too many people about because it's one of those out there topics. So
This is the right show for you.
A train of thoughts that I was curious of what you guys were to think about it, kind of thing here. And so I was wondering if mental health is connected to the moral health of society in ways. And because we've had so much immorality go on in our time, where back in the day before technology and all of this stuff existed, it would be considered quite immoral to go about this way of life, kind of thing.
Actually, that's a really rosy view of the past, don't you think, Kyle? I mean,
yeah, I'm also not
more than
entirely
likely,
sure what it is you're saying.
like we can go back to the 1950s and it was totally okay to hit your wife, right?
Or to have someone lobotomized.
Or to say no to women and minorities when it comes to opportunities as far as jobs and education are concerned.
When they bothered to ask.
I agree with you, and I understand where you guys are coming from that perspective there.
History.
I'm just saying there's some moral things about like watching people die on TV that we don't scoff at or give too much thought today. But when horror movies first started out, they didn't even show deaths, and because they had moral objections against it. And over time, those moral objections, we've crossed all those barriers with South Park and all those type of shows there, where there is no longer a moral barrier to cross anything, and everything has been said, right?
No, not necessarily. But really quickly, so we know that things were bad before, and you're saying things are bad now, but you're referring to a time that was obviously better, right? Like, when do you think was the best time for human morality? Like, can you give me a year?
I don't think there. No, I think there was a time where we had more family ideals, and maybe that's more where I go towards when I speak to morality. But I know some of those family ideals of the past were also immoral.
Yeah. To be clear, for me, love and acceptance is a family value, and disowning people for unbelievably stupid reasons is not a family value. So in that regard, we're doing better now. But I feel like thinking that you can beat your wife or your children is not a family value.
That's understandably immoral. I'm not advocating for that.
Based on the way you've talked, I assume that would be the case.
Yes. For moral with family in regard there was just more consensus among the family back in the day there, where if you were to speak your understanding and to your family members, they'd either affirm or correct that understanding. When I was being raised,
I actually got to push back.
My mother.
That generally wasn't the case.
That if you had a good childhood, that's awesome. But that doesn't mean that was
typical,
reflective of the world at large. I would say that this is the most moral time in the history of humanity, because we're continuing to grow. We stand on the backs of giants. We continue to get better. So I'm going to continue to, as you say it, I'm going to let you finish. I do want to hear what you have to say, but I do want you to know that going through our minds, this is an example of a thing that we can show in many different ways is not reflective of the greater whole of a growing morality.
And I'm also going to let you finish, and you finish as well if you have more to say after this. But I just want to say, Beyonce had one of the greatest music videos.
What the? fuck is? Hey, I love you. You
Are
make
you
no
smiling?
sense. Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
just like,
That's a quote from the thing.
when-
It was a cultural meme.
That is very much Jamie. Welcome
Yeah.
to Talk Heathen.
I'm trying to remind myself that the tone of this show is lighter, but we keep getting calls that
That's okay.
inhibit our
I like
ability
it.
to do that
This is
easily.
this is what we're growing into, Jamie. What we're growing into. Kyle, go ahead and finish. Thank you for waiting.
When I was being raised, my mother told me not to speak to other people about religion or about politics because everyone was entitled to their own perspective, and they all had their own perspective, which that's just how I was raised there.
Yeah.
And so I never truly voiced any of my understandings about the world or my misconceptions to my parents as growing up here. So I grew up with a lot of misunderstandings where I had to reflect on life and follow my curiosities to gain that knowledge there, because there was no one there to teach me those things there. And I think in reflection of that there's probably a whole bunch of people that weren't taught the traditions and doctrines of the past, but there's still, in my opinion, a need for some spiritual growth in a person, kind of thing. They're not necessarily religious, but
Well, what's the
there's
benefit of
that need
spiritual growth?
togetherness, right?
What's the benefit? What is spiritual growth? Like, what is that?
Well, I think it's to try to reach your potential as a person, kind of thing. That's
Okay.
what I see as
But does
spiritual
that-
growth.
I mean, do you understand that the part of that growth where you say spiritual doesn't make any sense to us or anyone that doesn't have that same idea of a spirit, that emotional growth or maturing or the development of character are also phrases that I think generally refer to what you're talking about.
Yeah, you called an atheist show and you just threw us a bone.
Yeah, do you understand where we're coming from on that?
Yeah, and as far as that is concerned, what is your, like, are you segueing slowly into a religious call? Like, what's our topic? We do have a couple of other people on the line we want to get to, so let's get to the meat. I want to dig in. What do you got?
Okay. I'm a spiritual rebirth involves a spiritual death, and my view, and I think we are born into a world that is in ways socially dead because of the what is going on within it. There's quite a few things that we can't do that are beyond our individual capability and requires to come together. And because we're not together on things there, that's where we have a lot of inconsistencies between what we do in our individual life and what we want in society. And that's what I mean,
Okay,
moral health in society.
When you're talking about spiritual birth, just so that we're clear, I didn't hear anything magical, mystical, anything like that. And he even his description of spiritual didn't even contain any of that.
Yeah.
So, is there any?
Well, I can reword it to mental, because mental and spiritual I think are kind of connected there. We go through kind of a mental death at times there, and that's what I would call depression there, where we would take the easy answer to a question there that kind of kills our curiosity or wonder for the world there. So whenever you bring up a larger topic, they would just tell you what
they already think.
So
I would say those things are related, but not exactly the same.
So Kyle, what you're saying is when you talk about spiritual death, you're not saying that anything actually dies, that this is just all metaphor, right? For other things. It's a way to talk about it.
In a way, yes. I think there's 3 different types of death in one life there. In my opinion, there's a spiritual death, a mental death, and a physical death. And we can be mentally, revive ourselves mentally, and that would kind of give ourselves a mental rebirth there if someone goes through a spiritual suicide,
So
mental suicide, mental death kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you not think there's no
Well, so Kyle, what
mentally
you're
shut down people to the world?
No. I mean, I believe that people suffer from depression and then they can recover from it. I wouldn't describe that as death or a rebirth from it, right? Because I don't have a reason to believe that those words apply very well, because there's nothing that I believe is literally a rebirth, right? If you want to talk metaphorically, like, oh, I'm a completely changed person because after this experience, I then went through a process of recalibrating my life, etc., right? There are many people that deconverted that think of it that way. That might actually be like, yeah, that's what I experienced as a spiritual rebirth. But people go through kinds of emotional suffering and then come out the other side of that. And people go through the reason that I said, those two things are related but distinct earlier is you said, like, oh, people will take the easy answer to a question and that destroys their curiosity and wonder for the world. I agree. I feel like that's it, if you're going to use those terms like an epistemological failing, like a failing of skepticism in the world as applied to oneself, and that's why we're here. I mean, it's a good conversation, but is there anything else? Well,
yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that we can add, man.
Wrap up right here.
You're not giving.
I'd like to keep in touch with you. This is a good conversation that we can keep.
And I mean, I think it's a cool conversation to have, but I don't know if it falls really within the purview of calling an atheist show. It's a cool concept, and I don't know if I disagree with you. I think my biggest piece is I would disagree with the language you're using because it carries with it a lot of baggage. But you're cool in my book, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your guys' time.
Absolutely. Thank you for calling in.
Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah. Do you know how to keep in touch with us on email and Facebook and Reddit and Twitter?
Yeah, I was the one that emailed you about the social suggestion there about how to format.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Oh, Kyle. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There it is. Well, yeah, keep in touch.
Definitely.
We'd love to hear from you.
We'll talk to you later, brother.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Okay. So I can't stop looking at the YouTube live comments. They're amazing. The sarcasm is so strong here. I mean, spiritual life, spiritual death. You need a spiritual condom. What is spiritual suicide? How long does a spiritual pregnancy gestate for? It is just beautiful. I
love the jokes. It's the best part. It's the best part of being a skeptic. It's the best part of being an atheist.
Oh, the sarcasm is strong in the YouTube comments.
Sarcasm is strong with these ones.
Right? All right, ready to move on? We actually don't have a whole lot of time left. We got 15 minutes. So
then they'll turn out the lights on us.
Right? Is there anything else? I'm not going to hit you anymore. That is not a nice thing. I care about you very much.
Thank you.
We hit $3,915. We are almost at the final. I saw that.
Right.
We're almost at the final stretch. We are so close to the last 1,000. So here's what.
How much did we get during the course of this show already? Is it people voting for EJ? It's just people voting for EJ.
So.
But still,
we need to come up with something terribly embarrassing for me to do.
And if we don't come up with something you want, you should definitely add your suggestion in the comments when you donate.
Actually, I have a really great idea.
Bodie McBoatface. That's what I just opened us up to.
Add your suggestion in the comments when you donate, and even if it's just a couple bucks.
Eric will paint his face.
Here's the deal.
A tiger.
Notate
really cool.
on your donation somehow that you are donating because of Talk Heathen instead of the Atheist Experience. Because I really need that.
I want to win. Yeah.
And if we do that, we need to come up with something terribly embarrassing. And I will announce that online. We will figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
When we're talking about online, I do want to say that I did pop up, I did update the website, talkheathen.com.
Yeah,
I put up
check
a
it out.
poll on whether or not we should ever talk to Hamish again. People can vote about that, and if not enough people hop on, then we're just going to have to keep talking to Hamish.
Forever. Or not. Whichever one you want to happen won't happen.
Right,
if
Reddit
you don't vote.
has been amazing. YouTube, obviously, in the comments. I haven't had a whole lot of time to hop on and talk to people.
Twitter's
like
been
you.
amazing. People have started.
People have been following me on
people-
Instagram.
Yeah,
I love it.
People follow me. Yeah,
This is
it's
cool.
good. Yeah.
But other than that, are we ready to move forward?
Yeah, as always.
Cool. Mr. Atheist, you are live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going, my man?
What is up, guys? Hey, I just want to say, first of all, I love this show. I've been watching it for about 40 years. Anderson Cooper is definitely my favorite host. What?
40 years.
Oh, my roommate.
Favorite host,
Hang on, my
right? Because it
roommate.
rotates.
Am I? Is this not CNN? Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Everybody else is
I
watching.
really
If you
like
haven't
that.
checked out Mr. Atheist on YouTube, check out Mr. Atheist. He's freaking hilarious.
Oh,
All right, go ahead,
you
man.
guys. And not to shamelessly plug, but EJ's on a couple of upcoming episodes of Dear Mr. Atheist. So
Are you poaching our guests?
I wrote.
You and I are going to have some
wrote down
interesting messages exchanged, punk.
Okay, go ahead.
Afterwards.
If that happens, then I'm going to share the other interesting messages we've exchanged. Anyway.
That's blackmail.
It's mutually assured destruction is what it is. All right. What is it that you want to bring up?
Truth. So I wrote down my question. Don't worry. It's only a page. That's another joke.
All right.
Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm preparing for an upcoming episode of Dear Mr. Atheist, and I decided to debate with a Mormon. And one of the questions they asked me, while I did, I think, answer it sufficiently, I suspect one or both of you will have a better answer than I gave.
Okay, hold
Not
on.
that I gave a bad answer, but I gave a bad one.
Okay, you're an ex-Mormon, right?
I am an ex-Mormon.
Okay, you have way too much confidence in us. We will try.
No, this
Well-
is not relevant. This is relevant to atheism, not just so. So let me give you the 2-second backstory. The guy, I'm past 2 seconds already. No, so the guy basically was making the case that atheists have less credibility to take on Mormonism than like a Baptist would. So even the fact that I used to be a Mormon, I still had less credibility than someone else who at least believes in God. So the actual assertion he made, I know, the actual assertion he made was that he can't prove the existence of God to me any more than I can prove color to a blind man. So I would like to hear your version of what you would do to handle that assertion.
That's rather
And remember, if
insensitive.
you say satellites or orbital mechanics, that's completely ridiculous. There are no satellites. That's bull crap.
Mr. Atheist, you are...
We can
Go on, Jamie. What,
You can talk
you go
about the
first.
fundamental physics of the universe and how that works and what photons are and how they're perceived by humans specifically as photons strike the eye and the retina, blah, 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 and talk about how different wavelengths and frequencies of light waves are perceived differently, and that is what we experience as color. And you can do everything to explain color to a person who is blind except for literally show it to them. And that's the only difference. And pointing out that that's not the way that we know many of the things that we know is a good reason. I believe that Australia exists despite never having been there and not having seen it from space.
Yeah.
And you can explain it to me whether I'm blind or not.
Well, and to be honest, you can go your entire life without understanding color and be fine, right?
Or visiting Australia.
But if you're talking about the existence of an omnipotent, all-powerful, all-loving, all-present God that put you here with a purpose and will torment you. Well, actually, Mormons don't believe in that. Well, outer darkness, but that's hard to get to. The telestial, the low rent heaven, right? That's where you're going to wind up.
The slums of heaven.
Right? Either way.
Well, the celestial kingdom, for the record, isn't the end all there. So Mormonism, their worst version of hell is basically you get isolated by yourself for an eternity. Not even Mormons are aware that is the out. So outer darkness is a little different.
Yeah. Hold on. Is it terrestrial? Is that the one? And then telestial, celestial?
Celestial is bottom, terrestrial is middle, and then celestial is top. And then remember that within each of those, there are also levels.
Nice. This is like a multi-level marketing scheme. I love it. Right? You got to get people more.
Which Mormons are really good at.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Okay. So
when in the Lord of the Rings, when there were different gods creating stuff. No, sorry.
Yeah. So when you're talking to somebody about that, you need to impress upon them the importance of, if they're right, it's a really big deal. If there's no color to somebody who's never going to see color, that's not going to affect them in the same way that, Hitchens' razor is that which can be asserted
without evidence, can be dismissed without evidence.
And that is really where that is. You really need to be able to say, hey, you're asserting something, and it's a really big deal. You need to come up with a whole lot of evidence. You need to come up with a whole lot of proof, way more proof. It's a false equivalency.
Yeah.
You need to come up with way more to show that there's a God
really lame
and that there's
excuse.
color.
Well, I can't explain this to you because you're basically the equivalent of blindness. So I don't have to do anything.
I think
Sorry.
If I was having a conversation again, like we all do, where we think about like that thing we could have
wisdom of the stairs,
and we're like, damn it. Yeah. So I think my response was similar to Jamie's. My very first response was, I could prove color exists to a blind man, just like I can prove to you that infrared and ultraviolet exist, even though you can't see either of them. And then I went, I guess it was a very long experiment one could do to explain this away. I think if I was going back, I would then want to question, like, what you've just said, though, is a very direct, I have a sense that you don't. Apparently, you didn't watch my episode that was all about how Mormonism is the same as narcissism, just with extra steps. So I think I would probably try and bring up what is this sense you have that I haven't, and how can you demonstrate that the feelings of confirmation I felt from the Holy Ghost that I now realize were myself are any different than the feelings you're having now and attributing to a higher power? So I did want to hear your guys' take. It was not completely ridiculous. I hope the audience understands that that's me making fun of Victor right now, but maybe they don't. Is my impression not as good as I thought it was?
No, it is in general, but you didn't lean into it.
You got to do the New York.
But
he's from Chicago.
Satellite's not real. It's completely ridiculous. Yeah.
Brooklyn.
No, he's Brooklyn. He's Brooklyn. My family's all New York and England, and I've met a million Victors, just none the ones that don't believe the Earth is round.
Wait, there are other people you know that don't believe the Earth is round, or just?
No, I'm saying I've met a million Brooklyn Victors who talk like him, use the phrase completely ridiculous to talk about everything. However, they all believe the Earth is round. That's the main difference between Victor and he. Yeah. But anyway, thanks guys for chatting with me.
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to. I was trying to think up something embarrassing, and the best I have is like maybe I could direct Eric in a Costanza-style boudoir shoot. I don't know, maybe something like that.
We'd have to be in the same place at the same time. You gonna fly to
Why do we
Austin?
need to take my clothes? No, actually, I
mean, not for that reason, but whatever.
Mr. Atheist, you take care. It's good talking to you, brother.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
For the last 30 years.
Last 30. It was 40 earlier.
Why a boudoir shot? Nobody wants to see me in lace. That's not a good look for me.
We'll figure something out. The more you dwell on it, the more likely they are to suggest it in comments.
All right, how about we do the last 3 rapid fire, yeah?
Yeah. We'll do them bullet. Let's do it.
Because
bullet rather than lightning. I got you.
really, really got to go to the restroom. Mason, you're live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. All right. You are ready. You're fired up. Let's do it. What do you got?
Marvelously.
I think I told the guy about an hour and a half ago. I've kind of been a little distracted by some of your interesting callers, but just talking about being a graduate student, kind of the teaching in the South, and also being an atheist.
Run away.
It's very interesting.
This is my advice. Get
what?
away. Run. Run while you can.
Start a large family and teach them to be skeptics. Invite your friends.
Not, but yeah, I just find it kind of interesting, the experience I have. I'm in the humanities, not sciences, so I'm a horrible atheist.
No.
But I'm kidding. There's just a stereotype.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah. But a lot of what I end up doing and talking about in terms of dealing with students is critical thinking. And it seems like there's always this assumption that, okay, we're talking about critical thinking, so therefore you're trying to get me to not believe what I'm coming in believing already. And I tend to not wear my beliefs on my sleeve as much because of that, being here. If I said that, I'd be immediately discounted.
Yeah, that and armbands are really out of style, particularly in recent days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes my
I'm
jokes
sorry, I feel
just
like
derail the conversation, and
Yeah,
I'm not prepared for it. Like,
honestly
all right,
don't-
that's all I had to say. Keep
I don't
talking,
know if I have
guys.
anything to add, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mason.
No, it's good. Yeah, I mean, did you? It can be really difficult to try and have a conversation with someone if they've already got their walls up, right?
Yeah.
They come in, you say critical thinking, shields up, and then yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and
People are terrified. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, people kind of get terrified with the Socratic method. If what they say isn't immediately accepted, suddenly it's you're crucifying them for it.
Well, Aristotle compared himself to a gadfly, right? It is annoying and it is uncomfortable to do. And the more we can get into those uncomfortable situations, it's usually how we get to the biggest breakthroughs is taking a good look at the things that you don't want to see are false and then learning that they're false.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, there's lots of, if you're teaching critical thinking, you probably know this. There's lots of ways to ease people into thinking critically, like getting them to talk about, like, oh, what's the definition of a liquid? It's like, oh, well, it's a thing, and if you put it in a container, it conforms to the shape of the container. It's like, okay, well, then a marble isn't a liquid, but if you get a jar and you get a handful of marbles, you put it in, then a handful of marbles is a liquid. Well, no, those are separate things. Like, okay, well, atoms are separate things. Like getting them to just think about things. I mean, you're a teacher, so you know this, and you don't need me to try and write a lesson plan for you in my non-teachery, not knowing how to design lesson plans. But yeah, it's interesting to engage in conversations like that with people, even if you don't give a shit what the definition of a liquid is.
what's your degree specifically in?
So right now I'm studying literature. I'm still working on it. Actually looking to do doctoral research, and UT Austin's on my list.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
come on down.
We'll show you around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm studying literature.
Rock on. Well, Mason, you take care and keep in touch. Email us, definitely, especially if you're coming to Austin.
Yeah.
Keep in touch.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh. Okay.
Definitely made the bullet real fast. All right, let's get...
So we'll get through the last two, and then I do have a thing. It is trending for me to be in very revealing clothing. Look, if we're okay with a whole lot of Photoshop, maybe, but we really got to hit that, and a whole lot of people have got to say it's for talking.
Eric, you know exactly how my imagination is playing with that statement.
It is nowhere near as bad as what's going on in the live chat. Emily,
Or just be
you
happy
are
they
live
can't post photos in the
with
live
Eric
chat.
and Jamie. Don't tempt them. How's it going?
Hello.
Emily?
Oh, hi. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to be a little on the quick side, and I know you have almost no time, so just feel free to cut me off. I had some comments about some of the prior callers. I live in Idaho, and that's one of the few states where parents can deny medical care to children and not be charged for it. And I'm one of those cases, actually.
Run away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, actually, I called the Atheist Experience, and actually, Emily is a pseudonym, and I was afraid of some things, but some family situations have worked out a little bit for the better, so I can be a little more honest on this one. The family, having more consensus with the family, I just want to throw, in the old times, I just want to throw out that from a female perspective, that was usually because the female was not treated as an equal, and just from a very conservative culture that I was, that my family was trapped in, and that I was raised in, not only as a female secondary, but my culture was a little bit, because they're also refugees, and everything is just kind of fucked up. But having too many daughters and not enough sons is also considered a curse, and blah, 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 and that's something I can talk about another time. But I just wanted to point out that, when you're looking historically, as far as more morals and more consensus, I mean, you have to look at it as well from the Black perspective, the female perspective, the gay and transgender perspective. There's a lot of shit going on that people, that just didn't get attention because you couldn't, it was a very white male-dominated world. As far as religion and harm, well, there's me, but I also work in the medical field, and I've seen patients. Obviously, I can't get into details, but I've seen patients. I work with patients who are severely injured, traumatic brain injury, stroke, stuff like that. And I've seen patients make amazing recoveries. But I don't know how much you know. But Idaho, there's a lot of crazy religious stuff around here, and cults and things like that. And patients just make these amazing, amazing recoveries, and we work so hard with them. And their family is praying for them to get completely healed. And even though we got them walking, we got them eating regular foods, we got them talking, we got them dressing themselves and doing all sorts of amazing things that we would never, a lot of our patients, they don't even think they're going to survive, and we got them going for all that stuff. And they just give up because their family they're not getting better, and the family's praying, and it can't be God, so it must be the patient.
Or even in the situations of recovery, they don't give you credit for shit. If they recover, it's Jesus, and if they don't. Yeah,
but I care less about that than, yes, we don't get any credit at all, but the patients give up, and it's just, and with Catholicism and a lot of religious stuff that's very fundamental, a lot of mental health issues, especially OCD, is encouraged as a sign that you're blessed. And so a lot of that stuff is encouraged a lot when kids are very, very young. And I guess in evangelical circles, you could see that a little bit more with the child preacher. But and where I grew up, not only was being a girl not a good sign, but if you're disabled or sick, you're considered cursed by God. And so my sister had OCD, and she had the religious version, which is very, very common. And they encouraged her over and over and over to do the prayer and to do all that kind of stuff because she could save, my dad from being disabled and being cursed by God and save the family that way. And she's very mentally ill right now. And that once OCD gets to a certain level, you can't, it's a lifelong condition. You can't really cure it, and the best you can do is try to control it. And she wouldn't be in that state if it wasn't for religion. And my parents, at the time it was for religious reasons that I was denied medical care, a lot of medical neglect. I'm in my 20s, and I have less than a 30-year prognosis. And that's largely because I didn't get treatment early on. And even though now they're kind of on my side, which is why I can be a little bit more honest, because, religious people do troll these kind of sites. I'm sure you've gotten calls from pastors I know the Atheist Experience has and stuff like that. So I just caution, but, now my family still can't know that I'm sick because, I could be exorcised, I could be ousted, I could be shunned, I could be, it's the idea that it's not just, alternative medicine that hurts people, why religion is less important to deal with than those things. Just some of the topics that were brought up earlier today. Yeah. It's not just that. It's the religion. So much of the religion itself does it. And I think the biggest problem is that in most of the country, places like Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, people don't think about it. And actually Montana is a very nice place. I've lived there for a little bit. But people they forget about that part of the country. And in such, they forget that they think that Christianity has had its nails cut off, that it's harmless now. And it's not. No. It's very, very bad still. And I'm sorry, I'm bringing the tone down, and you wanted a lighter
No.
earlier. I just wanted to comment on some of these things because I think it's important for people to realize.
And we're glad you called in to do that.
Yeah, Emily, it's not even just the. Here's our take. I'm going to speak for both of us on the tone. Is we're a community, and it doesn't matter where you are. We're here for you. And you better keep in touch because we want to talk to you. And we want you to know that no matter where you are, we support you. This isn't, that is one of the worst accusations is that atheists don't have community and we need to grow that. And I know that I want to do my part, and I know that there are so many people who are yelling at their computers right now saying, Emily, we support you. We care about you. And you just, anytime you need that affirmation, you just hop on and I'll give that to you because it's going to be okay. And
thank you.
Hopefully, we actually got an email from somebody in South America who was talking about having a similar experience. I'm not going to bring them out any more than that. I'll just say from that general area. And the thing is the best that we can hope is that no one else, the world we can try to build is one where it ends with us, where future kids don't have to go.
And that's part of the reason why I decided to go into the medical field, because out here there's so many crazies, and so many of it is religion. And when they first were trying to figure out, when I was finally allowed to go see a doctor, they were ruling out conditions where I'd have like a 1 to 2 year prognosis. And the idea that I had was that if I'm going to die in a hospital, I don't want it to be any more stressful than the dying process is. So I wanted to work in a hospital so that I would feel comfortable dying there. And so I started volunteering, and that's when I started seeing these kids and seeing these people who, curable conditions that if you get control of early, and it's heartbreaking. And there's so few people who do it, and I am planning on escaping relatively soon because I'm burning out, but there's just so much harm. And actually, the only reason my parents turned around, they had gotten a lot of abuse too. My dad is disabled. He had polio. And so he's considered cursed by God. And my mom wanted an education, so she's considered, bad. But my sisters told my parents that if they didn't let me see a doctor, because I was having blackouts, I was having seizures, it was a mess. And they said, if you don't let her see a doctor, then you're going to lose all three of us. And that's when my family turned around. And that kind of support, having people stick together, I think we, sometimes it's depressing to look around and see how much religion is getting involved in politics and healthcare and just doing so much harm. But like you said, I think if we can just my sister's doing that is kind of giving me a little bit of hope that if we all stick together, then maybe we can actually fix some of this.
Stick together, help each other.
So we are definitely...
I know, out of time.
But
I'll email you guys.
Well, actually, more than that. The number one, the YouTube comments are exploding. If you are comfortable with the idea of making a sock account for Facebook, something where you don't have to worry about people finding you, I know that our Talk Heathen Facebook is nowhere near as active as the official discussion group for the Atheist Experience. And I know that that's a community that I would absolutely love to see you in if you're not in it already.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. Keep in touch.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you, or else it's going to break my heart. Okay? We're going to check back in with you.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for calling in.
Can I just answer one question that was on the chat? Someone asked about, I just went to peek, someone asked about polio in the U.S. No, my parents, they immigrated. It was a version of Catholicism that came over, and they found plenty of other crazies to join over here. So
yeah, we don't have a lack of them.
Yeah.
All right, Emily, you take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Okay, last we have Lawrence. I think we'll get the question and then answer it off because I have to go to the restroom real bad. I can't do that.
Okay. Well, we can. All right. Lawrence, you're on with Jamie and Eric. How you doing today?
Hey guys, great show. I love the format. It's very interesting.
We
really
came
good
up with it on our
combination
own.
to you guys. That's awesome. Hey, you know what? I was just wondering your take on something. After watching tons of videos and debates and Reddit threads and Facebook conversations, it seems to me that the theist position never really moves outside of some sort of a language game that they play. That's really the only thing that it seems like to me that's ever really offered up. It's some sort of story, and you can kind of see it with some of the callers today, and really pretty much almost every caller that calls in. It's they just kind of run around with definitions and a lot of words that they put out there, or they'll point to something like a book like the Bible, which ultimately is some sort of a language, it's some sort of an explanation. And I was wondering, do you guys think that that's like an oversimplification?
I think it's an example
of the theist position.
I think it's an example of what magical thinking does to a person's ability to communicate.
I know that when I was a Christian, like really, really Christian, none of those things were things that convinced me to become Christian. It was being raised in it. It was, I'd hear people say, "Oh wow, up on Mount Ararat, that's where the Ark is, and it's been proven, and all of the major governments are conspiring to make it, go away." And then it was all of the other arguments that you'd listed on top of it, but nothing really. If you were to approach me back when I was a theist, not an atheist, but whatever. When I believed, if you were to approach me with the types of arguments that a lot of people discuss, and were to prove to me that I was wrong, none of those things were so tied to my belief that I would have thrown out God, because most people don't join religion for rational reasons. So, I mean, us having these conversations can open people up to the idea of thinking about it and really working through it. But not all of us are as clever as Jamie. Jamie rationalized him. Like, he used rationality to get out of religion. And that blows my mind to this day, because that was not where I was at. So that's kind of where I'm at. Anything that you want to add before we go, Jamie?
Flattered?
All right. So, Lawrence, you take care of yourself. I wish we could have more time to talk to you, but we got to go.
Keep in touch.
Well,
Call
I
back
got to
next
go.
week as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Eric needs to pee.
Real bad.
Right on, you guys. Have a good one, man.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
So, before we go, no, I'm not wearing a diaper next time, you asshole. No, wait, hold off, wait. Okay, well,
the rings have come out.
I did want to announce that even though Jamie's not going to be on the Atheist Experience today, which was freaking amazing, I'm going to cheer that on from now until the next time that you're on, because it's amazing. I do want to say that there will be a special guest on AXP with Tracy today. Lawrence Krauss. No, fuck that. David Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
David Fitzgerald, author of
Right.
Nailed. Yeah,
I didn't
to you.
know you were going to do that. And
David
so
Fitzgerald, author of The Complete Heretic's Guide to Western Religion, Book 1, The Mormons, that I absolutely suggest to anybody who has the chance to read it. It's friggin' amazing on Mormonism. Also, he has spearheaded a lot of the Jesus mythicist movement, and his book, Nailed, 10 Christian Myths That Prove That Jesus Never Existed at All, is a really fun read. Even if you don't believe where his conclusion is, it's a whole lot of really fun info to check out. His talk in Austin was going on during this show, and I'm pissed about it. So I do want to say that
you
David
told me
Fitzgerald.
Lawrence Krauss was going to be on the show. You did that just now.
Hell no. Anybody else who's got the inside baseball, that was hilarious to me. So because we did not get to do the St. Patrick's Day, we do have the out. So can we get some St. Patrick's-y love rings going? And in the meantime, Jamie, do you have anything to add before we say our closing line? Check us out.
Check us out all
Contribute
over the place.
to the fundraiser.
If you come to Austin, I like to have a good time, and I work downtown, so I know lots of the people that work downtown and know where to go.
If you want to have
Come
a good
downtown.
time, call Jamie. Everybody else?
All right. You are killing it today.
I know, right?
All right. For everyone that doesn't believe, come on down, you've got friends. For those of you that do believe, we don't hate you. We're
we
just
think
waiting
you're wrong.
for a good reason to agree. See, now you know why I do